Hello, listeners. I'm Timstradamus, and welcome back to another Monday. Hopefully, you had an amazing weekend. Joining me, as always, is my talented and beautiful co-hostess, Voyse.
Good morning, Timstradamus, and welcome to all of our listening ghosts, ghouls, and goblins out there. I've got an ominous riddle for you.
Ooh.
2 girls ate dinner together. They both ordered iced tea. One girl drank them very fast and had finished 5 in the time it took the other to drink just 1. The girl who drank 1 died while the other survived. All the drinks were poisoned. How is that possible?
Dude, what? Okay, give me 1 second. I will answer this correctly. So we have 2 girls. One drinks 1 drink, and the other one downs 5 of them, but doesn't die.
But all of the drinks were poisoned. How is that possible?
You'd think the one that drank the 5 the fastest would have croaked before the one that drank it nice and slow. Is it because the one that drank it the slowest no longer had ice in her tea and the poison was in the ice?
That's right.
No.
I can't believe you figured that out.
Did I really?
This one took me a hot minute to actually think about. But yes, the poison was in the ice.
Did I really?
You really got it.
Oh, all right. That was some Sherlock Holmes stuff right there.
That
I put that at the
was.
point of. Yeah, all
I
right.
saw your eyes light up. It was beautiful.
I was just making it up.
And then it started making sense.
Yeah, at the end, that's what I was like. It clicked in. I was like, wait, did we do something? We did a thing just now.
It was Halloween magic.
We're starting the week off right. Well, now that I blew my own mind, I will give our listeners a quick rundown of what we do here on this channel. Voyse collects stories on Reddit that are interesting, funny, and dramatic, and we give our viewpoints on them. And we look forward to hearing yours as well, even if they don't align with ours.
It's nice to have a different perspective on the same topic.
Agreed.
Well, I think I found a pretty fun tea at the store and decided that I would go ahead and pick it up. So, why don't you go ahead and take a little taste?
You normally just make them yourself, so this will be interesting.
I promise there's no ice in there.
That's really good.
So this one is a very fruity one that has black tea mixed with apple, pineapple, orange slices, mango, and pomegranate.
Yeah, it's a 4 out of 5.
All right. Well, while you go ahead and enjoy your morning cup of brew, why don't we go ahead and delve into these stories? For any ghost, goblin, or ghoul wanting to follow along, all story links are in the description below. For our first story, would I be the a-hole if I continued to let my stepdaughter sneak things into the house? So I, 38 female, am married to my husband, 42 male. I have 2 kids, and he has 1 from his ex, Alice, 11 female. My husband has 50-50 custody, so Alice is around a good chunk of the time. A few weeks ago, Alice started sneaking some of her Sanrio, she's obsessed with the brand, plushies into the room she shares with my daughter. It was fairly obvious, but I didn't comment on it, nor did my husband. I really thought nothing of it, but my husband got a call from his ex. Apparently, she's been wanting Alice to get rid of the toys because she's getting too old for them and wants to give them to younger family members. I think it's a bit cruel. My kids are older than Alice, and I don't force them to give away their plushies unless it's obvious they don't care about them anymore, which Alice clearly does as she's attached. My husband doesn't really agree either, as he bought most of her collection and feels like he should have a say in what's going with them, and he doesn't want to give them away if Alice still likes them. Is it wrong if I just don't comment on anything? My husband has made it clear to me he's not going to say anything, as they're technically his toys, and they should be here anyways. I really don't find harm in letting Alice take them over here either. But then again, as much as I love her as my own, I'm not legally her parent and don't know if I should really get a say in this. Would I be the a-hole? Now, just to go ahead and provide some additional information, our OP said the one reason why they're on here asking the question is because they really don't like the ex. And to add some more information on top of that, based on what OP was explaining in the comments, is that these toys, it seems as if the ex wants to give it to either younger siblings or cousins of Alice.
All right, so we're going to kick this off with me needing some clarification. ROP is the stepmother.
Correct.
And the whole dispute right now is between the biological father and the biological mother.
Correct.
About the plushie and whether or not an 11-year-old should be allowed to keep having a plushie around. That's really what this boils down to. And for the OP side of all of this, she's only wondering if it's okay that she still looks the other way while the 11-year-old sneaks in the plushies.
Correct.
I'll start with that right there. It sounds like you're dealing with, as a step parent, looking inward. You're dealing with two opposing sides. And the way that should always be handled, especially when you're talking about, because I don't know how long they've been together at this point, but when you're talking about dual parenting, you really need to take into account what those biological parents think first. Yes, you can still have your opinions. Yes, you're still allowed to talk to your husband about it. But as far as going like directly to the biological mother about this whole thing, that probably shouldn't be your place at the beginning of this argument. Let your husband go ahead and handle it and make whatever decisions he makes with his ex. Normally, when you're trying to make it amicable, that's a good place to start. And then the next point I want to get into here is there are plenty of adults ranging from all ages who have plushies. So that's a weird thing to have made an argument about. Just because she's 11, she's aged out of plushies.
Which honestly, for me, is really weird.
So in my opinion, OP, you are definitely not the a-hole in this situation. And yeah, I guess just keep being the good stepmom you are. Because she sees that it's happening, that the 11-year-old is still sneaking in, heisting away a plushie.
You mean trying to protect her own little property?
Yeah.
Because there's only so many things you truly have as an 11-year-old. So the consensus on Reddit was our OP's not the a-hole. For many Redditors, OP is good to not get in the middle of it. Let the dad deal with the biological mom. And if the items that are being brought to the house are items that the dad got her, that's really none of the bio mom's business. Additionally, it really rubbed many Redditors the wrong way that the biological mom wouldn't even allow some autonomy for her daughter to choose what to do with the plushies. Now, I will say I come from a split family. So there were a lot of items that I knew were just better off either staying at my father's place or staying at my mother's place, because I learned early on that one side wanted to sort of hoard those items away from the other, regardless of who spent the money for it. And at least for me, at an early age, I learned if I wanted to not deal with that, I would just enjoy the things that I enjoyed with each parent at each place.
Isn't it sad when a child has to be very aware of that type of situation in order to keep the peace between their parents?
Yeah, honestly, it really is. I don't think I truly understood that really wasn't a healthy way to actually maintain my relationships with both sides, but it was the way that I learned to keep the peace. And that's one of the reasons why I truly do not like the keep the peace mentality, because it kind of, unfortunately, individuals that do that make them feel or become doormats.
Sure.
And it took me a long time to grow into my own person to be able to understand that this is mine and I can do with what I want. And I think the other facet of this conversation piece for me, at least when it comes to the story, is why is it that another adult can't understand even children can have collections? As an adult, I've heard of plenty of other adults who have, in my mind, what I think are useless collections: stamps, cards, lunch boxes, comic books. For me, a lot of those things are things that I would like to have for a little bit, and then I'd probably pass it on to someone else who would find more value or who can actually use it. But I don't find the necessity to actually keep it myself. It doesn't mean that someone that has a collection, that it doesn't have value to that person. So I can't understand a parent essentially teaching their child that they're not allowed to have collections. As long as you're taking care of your stuff, you're making sure that it's respectful and you're not going into the hoarding zone rather than into the collecting zone.
Those things sometimes can run intersecting
almost
lines.
hand in hand.
So you got to be careful with that. But I will say this, and I hope it's not. I hope that the biological mother isn't trying to grow her daughter up quicker by when you start stamping going, well, only this age should be having these things.
It's almost as if you have to sacrifice for younger siblings or younger family members. And it should never feel that way. You should want to gift things if you'd like. It comes from a place of kindness when you do. But if you're forced into the act, that's not a very good precedent to put for your child. Well, let's go to our next story and see about not giving in to demands. Am I the a-hole for not giving in to my in-laws' demands? So I, 34 male, occasionally gamble. I'm talking like once every few months. Maybe I'll hit the casino or play poker with some friends. Recently, I won a few grand at Stake US. Nothing serious, I don't spend tons of money, and I definitely don't have a problem. My wife, 32 female, knows about it, and she's fine with it. But her family? They absolutely hate it. Every time we get together with her parents or siblings, they always bring up how gambling is irresponsible or immoral. They make snide comments, and sometimes they'll even flat out scold my wife for letting me gamble. It's like they're blaming her for not putting her foot down or something. We've been married for 5 years, and it's been this way for pretty much the whole time. Honestly, it's getting really annoying. I don't even gamble that often, and when I do, it's not like I'm blowing our life savings or anything. It's my money, and we're financially stable, so I don't see the big deal. My wife usually brushes it off, but I can tell it bothers her when her family gets on her case. I've tried talking to them about it, explaining that it's just a hobby and I don't have a problem, but they don't care. They're just super judgmental about anything related to gambling. Now I'm at the point where I don't even want to hang out with them anymore because it always turns into this big thing. Am I the a-hole for continuing to gamble, even though my wife's family clearly hates it and keeps giving her grief? Or should I just stop to keep the peace? Or is that giving in too much?
So he told us a couple things that are important here. He and his wife have both agreed on what is acceptable for him as far as gambling is concerned. They said they're financially okay. This isn't something that he's doing on a daily basis. It's something that he enjoys doing. It sounds like more of a hobby for him. So we're not getting into an addiction zone, I don't believe. Everything is okay as long as it's done in moderation. I'm not saying drugs or anything like that.
Yes.
I just want to clarify that.
We're talking about
hobbies.
Well, the hobbies can be very
It's a slippery
vague.
slope everywhere. I guess what I'm trying to say is there's an understanding between our OP and his wife about how this is all conducted within their lives together. He's not overstepping. The only thing that's going wrong here is that his wife's family believes that they have a right to say anything on how they conduct theirs. Unfortunately for him, he said he's already had these conversations with them, and they've repeatedly pushed past those boundaries, causing things to escalate during, I'm guessing, family get-togethers, and then ultimately finishes with them having big blowouts over this, over something that is none of their business. And if you have family members that do that to you on a consistent basis, after you've had clear communication with them, it's okay not to be around them. And I know for a lot of people, it's that whole, well, they're my family and this is all I've got. And I'll tell it to you like this. If someone can't respect you and give you the respect that you give them, they're not worthy of you being around. It's a life lesson that all of us have to learn. And I think some people, unfortunately, don't get that. And they'll keep going, look, this is just family. I deal with this because it's family.
That just sounds like an excuse. It's difficult, not to say that it's difficult to either create boundaries or to potentially go low or no contact.
Boundaries can definitely be a slippery slope when you're starting to enact them in a family that doesn't know what they are. Because then it can feel like, oh, well, either you're too good for us now, or all of a sudden things that I let you get away with now all of a sudden are no longer good because I'm doing them. You can get into a really weird back and forth, but just understand you have to start that now. Because at the end of the day, you don't have to go to those family get-togethers with your wife. If that's what's going to start it, if she's on a different page than you and is just okay with it, because he says she's, at every moment they bring this up, she just kind of ignores it.
Correct.
So for her, it kind of sounds like she's in this mode where it's family. I just got to put up with it because I still love being with them because they're my family. If that's how she feels about it, and you guys have had conversations, because you definitely should talk to her about how you feel. I'm not certain if she knows where you're at with all of this. That's a good place to start. You've had the communications. It's not changing. You no longer want to be a part of any type of family get-togethers on her side. I think that's more than acceptable, and you don't have to go to these things. On her end, she doesn't have to have you with her. If she still wants to attend and deal with all of that, that is her right as a person. We get in life what we will accept out of people. So P, no, you're not an a-hole. Stick behind your relationship. If you guys have agreed upon this, then that's perfectly okay.
The consensus on Reddit is our OP's not the a-hole. Redditors were saying that OP and his wife need to stop giving so much information to the in-laws and to create some respectable space. What people do in their private lives, as long as it's not self-destructive, is no one's business. Furthermore, should OP actually cave and just keep the peace, it'll set a precedent to the in-laws that they can force any agenda they want going forward. I have to agree with between Redditors and what you said, Timstradamus. I've said it in our previous story. I do not like the keep the peace mentality. It essentially allows other people to walk over you regardless of what boundaries or what values you have. And that's not healthy to have at all. The only thing that I worry about is that this relationship will end up caving because it will no longer be a relationship between a husband and a wife. It'll be a relationship between the wife's family and the husband.
Just keep the relationship strong. Talk to each other. Communication is very important, especially when you're dealing with these type of family members.
I agree. Well, let's go on to our next story and see what you think about a support animal. Am I the a-hole for not allowing my friend to bring her emotional support animal to my house after it destroyed my furniture the last time? I, 19 female, have a close friend, Amy, 21 female, who has a small dog that she refers to as her emotional support animal. I'm a huge animal lover and have no problem with pets in general. So when she asked if she could bring her dog over a few months ago for a small gathering, I was totally fine with it. However, during that visit, her dog completely destroyed one of my couch cushions by chewing it up and also scratched the legs of my coffee table. Amy apologized, but she kind of brushed it off and said he's still learning to behave in new environments. I didn't push back too much because I know the dog is important to her, but I was pretty upset because it cost me quite a bit to replace the damaged items. Fast forward to now, Amy asked if she could bring her dog to my place again for another get-together. I politely told her that I wasn't comfortable with the dog coming this time because of what happened last time, and I don't want any more of my furniture ruined. Amy got really upset and said that I was being insensitive to her mental health needs. She insisted that she needs the dog with her at all times and that I'm making her feel excluded by not allowing the dog. I suggested that she leave the dog at home for just a couple of hours or that we meet somewhere else, but she said I'm being unreasonable. Now, some of our mutual friends are saying I should let the dog come to keep the peace, but I don't think it's fair that I should risk more damage to my home. Am I the a-hole for refusing to let her bring her emotional support dog to my house again?
So I want to make sure. Amy's dog destroyed a couch cushion and I guess clawed up a leg of a couch?
Yes, it
chair.
Scratched the legs of the coffee table.
Oh, the coffee table. Okay. That sucks. Because for some people, that may not mean anything. But for others, they like to keep their things nice. And they didn't buy those things for other people's animals to destroy them. I never heard anywhere in this story, and correct me if I'm wrong, where Amy offered to pay for any of the damage that her dog had brought on to her home.
You are very correct, and that is something that other Redditors brought forward as well.
That makes Amy a bad friend. Because the very first thing you do in a situation where, regardless of kids, yourself, animals, the very first thing out of your mouth should be, how can I compensate you for this?
Or how can I make you whole?
You have to put the olive branch out and try to fix the problem if you can. Some things cannot be because you may have just ruined an heirloom. There's a bunch of different scenarios where that can't work. I didn't hear where Amy said any of that or did that. She just said, whoopsie doops, my dog is still learning how to operate in new places. The fact that a couple months later after this incident, she's still going, hey, by the way, can I come over with the dog that destroyed things that I also did not pay for, is, in the young people's terms, diabolical. Amy sounds like she's not really thinking about other people outside of herself. I don't know her. This is just one, or I guess would have been two incidences. But the fact that she thinks she's owed the invite, no matter the cost, which would be her bringing the dog, and then attacking you for saying no is revealing. You're allowed to ask people questions, but you also need to learn to accept no as an answer. And it wasn't a flat no. This was a no, but you can still come. Just leave the dog.
Or we can meet somewhere else.
Yep, there are plenty of options put on the table. but Amy wanted it Amy's way. And that can be a really sucky person to be around. You got to give a little bit. That's how life works. We all have to compromise. And I know for some reason, compromise has been turned into this really bad word, but understand that life does come with that. And it can be better for us or beneficial in some ways when we do those things. I can't tell you how many times I've compromised, but at the end of it gone, things worked out a little bit better because I let other people take control.
I also agree with that. I enjoy compromising. And I can tell you, when there's an idea that I have with you, I always push back because I always think my idea is the best.
We do it constantly with each other, but we have those conversations. It's fun. And then many times at the end of whatever we were doing, I'm like, yeah, you know what? Had I done it my way, that's not going to go as smoothly as when we did it your way.
And the same can be said the other way around, where you've had such really good ideas that the moment that you gave me the compromise, I see the value in it. And I can't help but jump on board because why would I not actually do something that benefits me in the long run as well?
Again, a lot of stuff is easier saying from this side. So take it with a grain of salt. Just understand that if you're always the hammer and everything looks like a nail to you in life, it's going to be difficult to have relationships. So in my opinion, OP, you are definitely not the a-hole.
And the consensus on Reddit is our OP's not the a-hole. For many Redditors, they said, well, the issue doesn't stem from our OP having problems with their friend having a support animal.
Nope.
That would have made them wrong.
Yes.
If our OP had just been completely biased on that front. But our OP made it clear that they enjoy animals. However, what they don't enjoy is someone who has an animal who does not hold themselves accountable to the actions of that animal. And for many Redditors, it really irked them, as you brought up, that Amy didn't even offer at all to compensate our OP for those damages. And no one has the right to essentially force themselves into your home, especially when you know that they've damaged items in your home before because of their negligence. Now, I have to say, what really bothers me here, there are a lot of individuals who have support animals, and for so many different reasons. I do not appreciate that someone would try and strong arm someone else with that clause in mind. You have to do this in your house for me. Otherwise, you're the villain. I do not like that premise. And the fact that this friend would essentially try and turn this problem into our OP being unreasonable when, as for me, I can't even imagine damaging someone's place and not trying to make them whole either by repairing the damage myself or by compensating them financially. But then to have the gal to essentially said, I have a right to your home and we're not going to meet somewhere else because that is the only place that I want to be in with my animal. Now, the one thing that I can say that is of a more positive outlet here, our OP is 19 years old. She's got her own house and she's paying for her own stuff. Girl, get it on. Well, let's go to our very last story and see if I can leave us with a little cheeky smile on our face. Today, I fucked up by texting a number left on my car. I am a lesbian, taken, and assumed the note was from a female based on the handwriting and hearts. I thought I'd do my single friends a solid and text the number back and find out. Edit my fiance's idea in the group chat with my single friends. Welp, definitely was not a female. I did see a guy parked near me, but absolutely did not peg the note as his handwriting. Photos here.
Yeah, I wouldn't have pegged that for a dude either.
The exchange went like this. Me. Hi, Alexis. This is Emily, the girl you left a note for. I assume you are also a female, so damn, I must be screaming gay today. Haha. I'm completely flattered, but I'm engaged. I give you so much credit for shooting your shot. I do have some cute single friends. Alexis said, I'm not a woman. I even saw you eating. Me. Oh shoot, my bad. You still thought I was cute after I slammed a KFC bowl? That's kind of you, LOL. The too long don't read. Thought the note was left by a lesbian. Tried to wingman for my friends. Turns out Alexis is a dude that watched me eat lunch.
Yeah, that's a little weird at the tail end of that.
I find it absolutely hilarious that our OP is like, you still thought I was cute after I slammed an entire KFC bowl? I just find it funny. Our OP was extremely kind about the whole thing, saying, hey, look, I'm taken, but I might have some friends.
Thank you for shooting your shot.
Yeah. I also find it very unfair. And I remember this in the past where you have those ambiguous names where you're not sure if who you're dealing with is a man or a woman.
Yeah.
And you're just kind of wondering, well, how do I approach this situation?
So the handwriting definitely does look more feminine.
The little hearts make me think that it's more.
All my friends, myself included, our handwriting is chicken scratch compared to that. So I can understand where she may have been just based off the handwriting and the hearts. Yeah, you might have thought that that was a woman. Does she clarify any more? Are they getting a date with one of the friends?
No, it doesn't seem.
It sounds like they all coaxed her into following up with this person.
They're like, wait, this woman thought you were so attractive that she wanted to really shoot her shot. Well, come on, I'm single. But no, it doesn't seem like it.
Okay.
I just thought it was freaking hilarious. I mean, there have been many times where I've either sat eating in my car, at least when I was younger. And you and I have done it before where I tell you in a restaurant, I like watching other people and what they're doing, how they're interacting. For you, you're all about safety first. Should something happen, how will we respond to this immediate emergency situation?
Where are my exits?
And for me, it's all about looking and just seeing how individuals interact with each other. I find it funny. You have the people watchers and you have the what I consider the first responders. Because you'd be the first one to respond to a situation where I think I would be so caught off guard because I was in my own little world creating little stories for individuals around me in public.
Voyse does that. They make whole storylines. So we'll be sitting there and yeah, it's very interesting what happens in Voyse's head.
So I think for me, even though it is a little creepy, yes, somebody's just watching you eat. But how many times have I just people watched? I don't do it in a creepy way. And if anything, if they shot their shot, as long as they don't overstep their boundary and do anything more than just that.
Hey, baby, I liked the way you were sucking on that chicken wing.
So just one of those slips of life sort of stories.
Yeah, I agree. So was that our last story?
That was our last story.
Finger licking kid. Is that KFC? I don't remember.
KFC.
Okay. Well, as our stories come to a close, don't forget, you see in the world what you carry in your heart.
If you have enjoyed listening to us read and talk about today's stories, please rate, subscribe, and turn on notifications for new content. We regularly post on Mondays and Wednesdays. We have our Feel Good Fridays on Fridays. And on Saturdays, we post our Damas After Dark, which temporarily throughout October is our paranormal story time on Saturdays.
Paranormal.
Talking about our Patreon, I would love to thank all of our Teatreons for your continued support.
Yes, we love and appreciate every single one of you ghouls. And as always, listeners, we look forward to hearing your opinions in the comments below. What did you think about the stories today?
I think I did very good with my themes. Different variations of trying to keep the peace, and why trying to do that probably isn't the best idea.
I think most people can identify with the in-laws demanding things. And either you get lucky and they're super understanding, very cool people that understand what boundaries look like and have them in their own lives, so it's easy to have them with them. Or you get people who don't know what that means and they think they can call the shots in your life.
I think for me, the story that kind of hit close to home was probably the stepdaughter sneaking things in. I can definitely understand trying to placate to two different parents once the household is split. But I also understand how you feel as if you have to sneak things around just to make one side happy or the other side. Just can't make everybody happy all the time. But as a kid, it's generally what you try and do. Unless you grow up with parents that essentially tell you it's okay for you to have your own values and stick up for yourself.
Hopefully more people come around to that type of parenting.
I hope so as well.
And if you're still around, we have a baby update.
Baby update.
It's been a little bit.
Yeah.
We try not to talk about it too much. We're not sure if people are interested in hearing about it, but
if you're this far, you are.
Voyse is feeling the baby move around on a daily basis now.
Yes, it makes me so excited. Man, she kicks me everywhere. And we're also excited to plan a baby shower.
We're thinking about cool ideas for a baby shower. I think we're zeroing in. I don't think we're going to share what that is, but
quite yet, at least.
Yeah.
But the one thing that you and I agreed on is I really don't want it to be just a one-sided, I get a baby shower and nothing really happens on your end. I want it to be where both sides of our family, all of us can just come together and celebrate our little baby coming into the world.
And remember, if you post it, maybe we'll see it on the internet.
I get to pick the movie tonight, James and the Giant Peach.
Oh, we haven't watched that in a little bit.
I'm so excited.